everybody. This is Meherban Faroogh from 1000 Pip Club. Today is March 14th, 2012. Welcome. So I think what I'll do is we'll kind of continue from last week what we did. It appears to me that people kind of like that. That being said, what I'd like to do is kind of put a little bit, do a little bit freehand. So rather than me selecting a pair, I think I chose Aussie USD last week. Let me ask you guys in class, give me any pair of the 28 pairs that I typically look at. And I say 28 because if you look at the 7 pairs, 7 majors, whatnot, 7 or 8, I keep forgetting. 8, I think. Combination of that makes 28, right? So take up any pair. I'll wait for a few seconds. And I'll do the same stuff I did last time. So I'm getting some thoughts. So just people type in and then I'll see what's the most common. I've got USD yen so far. I've got, let me put it on the, I've got the camera, or the video rather, on the chat screen. So I've got USD yen and Kiwi. Okay, what else? USD yen, pound. Any other suggestions? How about an exotic? These are the usual ones. How about an exotic pair? So the idea for me to do this is again so you guys see in real time. This shouldn't take too long. Any exotic pairs? I've got a pound yen. That's a yen pair. You can do that. US ZAR. I don't even know what US ZAR is. I don't trade the ZAR. I can do that if you want. I just have to change a few settings on my side and figure it out. Aussie USD is I think that's XAU. That's either silver or gold. I keep forgetting. I can do that if you want. How about gold as exotic? I could do gold. Euro Aussie. That's a good one. Okay, so in the options I have, I would ignore the majors because we do that quite a bit, right? Euro Aussie is a good option. African Rand. I've never done African Rand. What's the symbol for Rand? Is that the ZAR? African Rand, is that the ZAR, ZAR? Yeah. ZAR, okay. Let me go on my, I don't even have it selected, so let me see if I should have it on FXCM. Just give me a quick second. Let me go into symbols and pick up ZAR. Now, I've never done this before. I didn't even know what the symbol stands for. USD ZAR. So that would be USD ZAR, right? Yep, USD ZAR. And you know what? I might just get addicted to it. Let me see if I have it now. USD ZAR. Okay, so I'll try and pick USD ZAR. Let me see. Let me go back on the. Yeah, there it is. Okay, interesting. Let's see. Okay. Alright, I'll do the same stuff I did last time. And to me, it doesn't make a single difference. Take any price chart and you can do the same thing. 846. Alright, so the levels that I've picked up essentially is this bottom, that top, right there, this low. I would even pick this up, probably this spike up to here, 10. But just by the looks of it, I'm not comfortable with this chart. I don't know if this is FX Street's fault or if that's really the way the data is. The price has moved. If I were to trade this, I would do some check and balance on some of the other platforms and maybe internet and figure it out. But anyways, based on what I have, that's right there is my support resistance and everything else. Now based on this, I would say one of my fibs goes right from this bottom to this top. And again, it's interesting, even though the chart is a bit crap, but the concept is what I want to teach you guys. So if you guys are having difficulty figuring out support resistance and fibs, there you go. That's the best way to explain. So I would take the low from here, 1.00, and I'll go all the way to the top there, 11,846. I would not go from this low to this high. Why? Because between these 2 points, the highest point is really here. Yeah, I know my mouse moves. There's a little bit of lag between my mouse and what you see at your end. So, okay, so this is parity to 11,846. You guys can see my screen properly, right? Just give me a Y again. 11,846. And this is good. Okay, now this is, as I said again, since this is a monthly chart, I personally prefer to have the thickest line there. Since it's going up, I would like to have green there. Again, you can choose your own colors or not choose your colors, but you need to have some kind of a basis. Now, it probably stopped short above, well, that's quite a few pips though, the 50% and went back. Okay. The next thing I would do is go from this top, 846 down to that low, 6350. Right, and I keep my, you'll see pips diagonal, not this. I don't try and run them over the line. Visually, it creates some issues later. 846 to 846 to this is 539. 539, 11, 846. 539, and this is coming short, so I'll keep it in red and apply right there. I'll start adding some Christmas lights. Now you'll notice, as soon as I do this, you'll notice it went till 38.2%, almost 38.2%. It breached it. 38.2 was 5662, and it went till 6044. So it just went about like, what is that, 80 pips. Anyway, so figure it out. The next one that I would do is from this low, right? From this low to that top, and the next one from here to here. And I'm done on the monthly. And almost that's really what should be on the weekly as well. And a little bit more maybe on the daily, but that's it. So as I'm expanding the charts, notice that I'm trying to figure out 5390 right there. So I would choose 5390 down to 60. I need to see that number again. 6044. Go on trend line. 50. 60, 44. I forgot. 53. So what you're seeing in real time, and that's why I like doing this in front of class. What you're seeing in real time is exactly how I do it, right? I don't have to memorize numbers. I don't have to, everything is right there in front of you on the charts. When you're drawing a fib between the two numbers, one kind of gets blanked out. That's okay. You can go with what you have. And then as you click it, you realize you didn't get it right. So the top is 6044. Let me make that right. Oh, it was here actually. 6044. And my low is 5390. 5390. 5390. The other thing is this is going up, so I would make it green. Make it green. I can keep this again. The closer the time frame, I try and go a little thinner on the lines, just to start reflecting that the thicker green is like like a decade long, or in this case probably 5 years. And the thinner line is a little bit more, relatively more nearer in time or shorter time frame. The last one, based on a monthly, what I would do is, so this is the support that I missed earlier. This is the most current time frame, 40.07. Hey Demi, I'm doing, by the way, USD ZAR, African Rand. I don't know about you, but I've never looked at that before. And I asked the guys to let me know which one randomly to pick up. That's what they thought. I thought it'd be interesting, but just to kind of make the point, when you pick up a new pair again, it should be that simple. And I keep saying simple, it's not that simple. If you're new, once you get used to it, doing a support resistance in fibs should not be rocket science. And if somebody tells you otherwise, then there's an issue there. 4, 2, 7. And I would make that a little thick. And I would apply. And I would leave it there. 4007. Make sure that's correct. Yep. The next fib I want to grab is from the top there. 6044. 6044. 4007. Okay. Alright. I got that. Alright. And just make it a little bit thicker. Okay. Right. So let me go back now and show you. Once again, I'm not very happy with the monthly charts. That's fine in terms of data that's coming in from FXCM on this pair. But based on what I have, we identified support and resistance levels just off the monthly chart, and then drew some fibs going up, coming down, again going back up, coming down, and that's all I would do on the monthly at this point in time. That being said, just off the monthly, and this is where you start getting a little bit, as you look at the charts more and more, you start picking up things. So a couple of things I can see just on the monthly chart is, for instance, this spot here. Do you see this lows? As it was coming down from up here, 84.60, it bottomed out. The lowest point probably is this one, 1932. 1932, these are higher. Yep. That's a nice support. So if I go down on the daily, you will definitely see there's a nice support here. 1932, 1932, 1932, 1932, 1932. I probably would not make it too thick because it's at the point 1932. Okay, that's one. Another point I would pick up is the spike here. It's here. I mean, these are all resistance levels. You can pick it up. But the other one I would pick up is from a more of a closer time frame, and you'll see this on a daily coming up. So this blue candle, the way it went all the way up here, this top, 47, 97, and then came down, 64.58. These two again are decent levels. I would even pick up this top here. So let's go to 47.94. 47.94. And I would pick up, by the way, I mentioned this earlier, every time you pick up a line and you draw a line, the next time you have to click a candle to look the price, you need to right click your mouse, otherwise it'll keep drawing the lines. For the things you just want to draw a line. You need to draw a line, then lose the line by doing the right click, then go back and select. That's why you keep seeing me going back up here all the time. And I always, when you're doing support resistance, sometimes you need to be precise there. So I always make sure I double check what the low is or the high is. In this case, the candle low is 64.58. 64.58, this low right there. 64.58. And there is that. And maybe I'll just pick this one up too, because it seems like it went there. Then even this low here would be nice. The blue candle's low would be a nice support at this point in time on the daily chart. I'm just looking at the monthly, guys. This is multiple time frame. As you keep doing this, you'll see what I'm talking about. The blue low there, 77.11. 77.11. 77.11. And this is 77.11. This should turn up on the daily very nicely. And I will pick up this red high also. 84.55. Oh no, 45. What was that? 45.57. 45.57. 45.57. 45.57. 45.57. Okay, I think that's pretty much about it. I can pick up from a monthly chart. Even these lows here, should be nice. 95.57. These should turn up on the daily as a nice support resistance level. 95.57. 95.47. 95.47. 95.47. Okay, and even the stop here again on this red candle, 23.58. 23.58. You know what I'll do? I'll change the color of the ones that I think should look nice or be very prominent on the daily chart. So these blue ones that I just drew, or I'm changing the color there. These blue ones you will see will come up very prominently as decent support resistance levels, or at least I think they should. The stop there should be, and again the reason I keep saying that or doing that is that you appreciate you need to become good chart readers. So everything I talk about fundamentals is important, and I've heard a lot of people talk about that on FX Street as well, and fundamentals is absolutely important. But that does not defeat the need for you to become expert chart readers. You have to, right? That's a technical skill set, technical analysis. And these lines here, the blue part. Okay. So I'll go back again. So you see how the blue lines just drew are kind of clustered more, within a certain range. I would expect to see all of those blue lines show very nicely on a daily chart. Let's go and see. So now I can go on a weekly, and there'll be barely anything else to pick up on a weekly because pretty much we picked it up from the monthly properly. See that? So I'm kind of condensing a little bit. See, these lows we picked up there. There's your high. Again, I can't. Well, yeah, I could have picked up probably this one. Now on the weekly, you start seeing certain things that you couldn't see very clearly on the daily chart, right? Now, why? Because it came down February 25th, the week of February 25th this year. It came down to 40.07, which we picked up, of course, from the monthly. But this top here, it's important to note because this can turn to be support. As this breaks, if this breaks and drops below, this can turn to be a nice support. Plus, you have a nice 61.8% Fibonacci at 32. So let's see. Refresh. Can you guys see my charts okay? 34.72, 34.72, 34.72. Can you guys see my charts okay now? Okay, 34.72. So 34.72, and I'll start using blue lines so you can see that more clearly. Okay. This 34.72, I would keep an eye on that. If this pair was to further drop, but it seems like on a weekly basis, it's coming short. USD is weak, right? 34.72 and 30, what is that number there? Let's expand it a little bit more to see. $32.72. Okay. I think that's 32.70 something. So there's a Feb, I think 200 pips below. We'll figure it out better on a daily chart. But that's pretty much it on a weekly. Now when you go on the daily, of course you'll start seeing a lot of what's on the right side of the weekly, and the last few candles on the monthly a lot better with a lot more clarity. Oh, always refresh when changing time frames? Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so you should be able to see it properly now. I'm still getting used to hot combat with the guys. Okay, yeah, so you can see those blue lines we made up, right? See right there? This is a daily chart now. We picked that top. We picked that top right there. Can you see my mouse moving, guys? It's important for you to see my mouse moving on the daily chart for this. Can you give me a yes if you can? Yes, thanks. So from the monthly, we picked up those blue lines, and you can see it right off your daily chart. And again, it's no rocket science. It's just getting used to it. And if you're not used to it, then this low that I picked up there. Now, probably the better support is this spike down here, 59.78. But a lot depends where your price is and how much it's moved and everything else. We picked up this low. Now, the other thing I'd caution you, just so you don't, confuse yourself too much, because I end up doing it also at times, so I've stopped that. Like this level, do you see? This low that we picked up, 95.47. There are a bunch of lows here. Right there is a support, 99.06. Right there is a support, 8,063. Right there is a support, 8,027. So just between these four levels, you could probably pick up even this is support right there, 8,007. So you can have like 4 or 5 lines clustering in this area, and you can be sitting there scratching your head, which one is relevant, what do I do? My suggestion is pick the most obvious one, and then for to draw the line and save it, right? And for the remaining, keep an eye on it, right? Otherwise you'll confuse yourself, because if you don't, if you apply that logic, meaning you must and you should and you will pick up all of these levels and you draw a line, well, then you should apply the same logic across your entire chart. In that case, right there is a high. Right there, well, this should definitely be taken into account. This spike right there, 88.08. So my point is pick the most obvious ones, 88.08. And what you call save the chart. So there is some semblance of sanity. So when you're looking at that, you can make a decision. But at the same time, you should definitely keep an eye on some of the other support resistance moving around those levels, along with FIPS, right? Okay, so right there is a daily chart. Okay. Now, without knowing too much about the African rand, which is the AR, what I would say. Now, did you notice I didn't even go on the hourly chart? I didn't go on the 8-hour, I didn't go on the 4-hour, I didn't go on the 1-hour. I don't need to do that. For my support resistance, for my FIBs, I just need to go from monthly down. I mean, I looked at the weekly, but it's almost monthly. And if I do a good job on the monthly, I almost go down the daily and pick up stuff that I missed. That's really what I do. In terms of a trade, I would see again, guys, I have to caution you, you do your own homework before taking any live trades, right? This is supposed to be an education, and knock yourself out to take trades in a demo account. But if I did look at a trade, I'd definitely consider, look at this level. It came there, 59.78. 59.78. 59.78. 59.78. Yeah, it's a daily chart. It's a daily chart. I'll refresh it again. And now I'm looking at the daily chart. So this red candle came up to 60.26, which is just a few pips above 59.78. But the one that I'd be, you can pick that, but the next one that you want to pick up really is this low right there. Because you see how nicely it stayed there, and from there all the way it went to the top. 64.58 is something I'd keep an eye on. 64.58. And the other thing is, as it was coming down, let me expand the chart now. As it was coming down from 88.08, it kind of resisted a little bit around there. 63.73 roughly. Right? Went back up, broke below, came down. Then this red candle, again it tried to breach that level, 64.85. This is 64.58. Couldn't breach it. Went short. Tried to breach it again. Couldn't. Well, it did, but couldn't close above that level. So this blue candle, the close is 64.26. It couldn't close above 58. So it seems like the 64.58 is a nice level. The other thing I would, the last thing I would almost do is draw the fib on the most current time frame. Now, by the way, these are all support levels. Just so you know, these are all support resistance levels on a daily chart. So this low there, now this is something I could not pick up from a monthly chart. See that? Because the last few candles is just 1 month. Let me show you. 46.83, 46.90, 46.83 is the low here. So this one, I'll choose a different color. What was that again? 46.83. I'm on a daily chart. 46.83, 46.83. And I'll choose a hot pink. And so it stands out. Right. That's the low. And right there is a high. 67.75, 67.78, 67.75. Okay. 67.75. So these two levels I couldn't pick up very well from the monthly chart, because if I go on the month, see, now I probably could have picked up this candle high, but this low definitely I couldn't, because those last few days are within that month. That's why I need to go down to a smaller time frame. Do I have enough colors? Yeah, I do. All right. So the fib that you should draw that I don't have here is one from, okay, I have it from this top to that low. The one that I should pick up, well, you can, and there are a bunch of fibs you can do, right? You can draw one from this top to that low. You can probably draw one from this top right here, 23.58 to the low. But the two that I definitely want to pick up in the more recent time frame is this top here, 88.08 down to the low. So let's do that. 88.08 down to, I forgot the number, 40.07. 40.07. And again, I'll choose a little pink here so that it stands out nicely. Oh, I don't need that thick. I want my levels to be thick. Okay. Right there. So now you start seeing how this starts lining up. What I'm really looking for is some semblance of some confluence of events. What I'm looking for is a nice fib to line up with 64.58 that gives more credence to 64.58. And it seems like it's a few pips off. So there's a 50%. There's a 50% at 64.07. I don't know if you can see it very clearly right there. There's a 50% at 64.07, which is, whatever, do the math, 40 or so pips. 41, I guess, right? 51. Yes. Just below this 64.58 level. The next one I would do is refresh. Okay. You should be able to see the new fib. Do you see it now? From this top, 88.08 down to the low, 40.07, I drew the fib. The next one I would draw is going back up. You have to go back up like that. Right? And let me pause here. And I apologize, I keep saying it's easy. It's not easy if you've not done it before. And where I used to get a lot confused initially a couple of years back, and where some of you may be getting confused, is how to pick my tops and bottoms. Well, what's my high and what's my low, and which low to which high should I go? Why didn't you go from this low, for instance, right? Or rather, when I picked up this high to low, from 88.08 to 40.07, why didn't you go from 88.08 down to the current low, for instance, 46.90, right? So why didn't I do it like this, for instance? Why didn't I go from here to here? Why did I go down to here, 47? And the simple answer is that's not. You have to look at it in one stretch, and I'm probably not able to say it properly, but you have to see from the high to the low, right? To the exact high to the exact low. This low is not relevant for this high. From 88.08 to 46.83 is not relevant because there's a low that's lower than 46.83, which is 40.07. That's why I went from this high to this low. And the next one that I'll draw is, and again, it's always forward moving, meaning I would not go from 40.07 backwards. I wouldn't go like this. That's wrong. Again, that's important. And some of this may be basic for some of you, but so I would not go, for instance, like this, 40.07 back to this level. That's not the right way to draw a fib. The right way to draw a fib, if you want to pick the stop, is to go from this high to this low. Now, once again, you can ask a question, why would you not go from this high, 80, whatever this number is, 80, from 23.58 to this low? Why wouldn't you do that? Right? There's a low here. There's a very prominent low right there. Do you see that? Guys, do you see that? Where my mouse is? I'll just pause here. This is important to understand. Do you see where I'm pointing? Yes. This low, roughly 75.02 or something. So the question you should ask is, why would you not do a high from, let's say, I'll go from this way all the way to the top. Why do you not do a high from this high to this low? Well, because that's not the lowest point. The lowest point based on where my current price is. And that's the right way of seeing it. Where's my current price? 75.53, right? I'm sorry, 57.53, right there. So my current candle is right there. So if I just choose a fib from up top here, I would not stop it here. I would go all the way down. That's the right way to do the fib. And then you look at the next level, so on and so forth. I would not worry about the fib from here to here. At certain point, I would have done that. So for instance, I would have done a fib like that, but until the time it had not broken below this price level. At a point in time, and this was the low, 75 even, whatever 75, 50.08 was the low, and it had reached 88.08 and was somewhere around here, let's say, 69.56, somewhere around there, and this low had not formed. At that point in time, this fib was relevant from this low to this high. But since it broke below this level and it formed this low, this fib is no longer relevant. You'll be wasting your time if you look at these fibs. Right, so the next fib I want to pick up is 40.07 down to 67.75. 67.75 and 40.07. And again, I just make it a little big so it stands up. And I can leave it at a lighter line so it's not showing the differences. Right? The third fib I would do, see, so this is something that you probably should do because the last few time frames, the last few days, the last few weeks are kind of relevant, more relevant as well. So you need to kind of go down to that level and start doing your fibs over the last few days or weeks, right? So next one is right here, which is 46.83, 46.83. The high is 67.75, 67.75. Right. Right there. And the last one is really the stop, this higher. 60, 26. Now I'll tell you, when I go down to my hourly chart, you'll see this a lot clearer. That's the beauty. And let me change that color to a green, not a green, or something else. Orange. Yeah, okay, I don't run out of colors. And let me make that a little thicker so it stands up prominently. You would see this fib very clearly on an hourly chart. This and even this one. Even this one you would see very clearly on an hourly chart. Okay. If you change the color of the fib itself, just take care to change the color of the trend line too. So you can see apples to apples. Right. You should probably have support resistance line there too. 60, 27, 26. 60, 26. And you should have a support line right there as well. 5150. 5150 right there. Okay, so the next two fibs that I would do is right there, 46.83 down to 59.78. 59.78 right there, 59.78 and 46.83. 46.83. Right, I'll choose a different, I'll keep it in orange. Okay. And, oops, that wasn't right. That low is correct. That high is not right. 60.26. What did I do? So this is the importance of having a trend line, just so you know. So when you have a trend line, see immediately notice that the trend line of this fib, it stopped short. It didn't go all the way up. So you want to keep the trend line, keep it in the same color. Again, just little tips and tricks that will help you. So I picked up the wrong level. 60.27, 60.26, 60.26, 60. Oops, 60.26. Right, and then the last one I would do is 60.26 down to this low. Let's see if that's right. And I forgot the low. Go back and check. 51.50. 51.50. Okay. Are you guys ready? 51.50. Now when I go back on my hourly chart, you will see this a lot better. I know it looks a lot gibberish and jammed up. So once again, if I go, first I'll go on my month, okay? And I'll refresh my charts. Okay? Do you see my monthly chart? This is what I want you guys to understand now. Do you see my monthly chart? Yes? No? You should be able to see my monthly chart now, right? Now, on my monthly chart, when I do this, see, there's absolutely nothing you can see. That's fine. That's fine. You know why? You can always open up a chart. So once you save this, you can always open up a new chart, create market chart. You can go down to, if I can find it quickly, USDs right there, right? Right? And I don't like the grid lines. This is me. Right there, you got a clean chart, right? So this excuse of, oh, I got too many lines, I can't read. Well, I don't buy that personally, right? Here's a chart. You can see whatever you want to do, right? You can expand, you can go to weekly, you can go down to daily, you can do whatever you want, right? But this homework that you just done is amazing. It saves you a lot of time. And before I forget, I'll show you how to save it on FXCM. There are different ways you can save it on different platforms. But yeah, I understand you can't read anything here. That's fine, but you can always expand this right there. And what you really want to figure out is where should I take the trade? So where do my lines line up? The beauty of the thick lines and the red lines and the pink lines and the dashed lines and the support lines is as you go down, let's say on a daily, right there, right? It starts expanding. So you go, oh my God, oh, that makes sense. So if you're looking for a trade at around 64.56 or whatever it is, 60.26, you start seeing some fibs. You should start seeing some fibs line up, some fibs and support resistance levels line up. And if they do, you have a good trade. You have a good potential trade, depending what's happening on the fundamentals at that point in time. And that's why I keep saying fundamentals at that point in time. If you have no clue of fundamentals and just trading off your technicals, I think you're doing a big mistake. Okay, back on the hourly. So now I haven't touched the hourly chart, right? I haven't touched the hourly chart, and let's see what happens. So in this case, the pair went up to 59.76. There seems to be a nice fib there. Look at that. That 59.76 had just hit. 59.76 is a 61.8% of this high to this low. 67.75. Now let me refresh the charts. I'm not sure if you're able to see my charts. Can you see my daily charts, guys? So the fibs I just drew, right? 61.8% is bang on where this hit. 59.75 and I said 58.70. Wow, it really moves, eh? It really moves. I just refreshed. Can you see it now? I'll refresh it again. You should be able to see it now. My hourly chart. Right? Yeah. So it went to 61.8%, which by the way lines up to some other resistance level that we just picked up. I don't know where it is. I'm on an hourly chart, so right there. Okay. The 61.8%, 59.75 from where it just bounced off just now as we were talking, is also, I'll have to actually go on a daily chart to see this, because it's difficult and I'll refresh my charts. You should be able to see my daily chart now. 59.76, 59.76 we picked up from right there. Right there. See that spike down there? See that candle that spiked down there? 59.78. That 59.78, if you can see that? Yes? No? Can you see this candle that came right down there on the daily chart? 59.78. And then a fib at 61.8%. Good. A fib at 61.8% on this daily chart. So from the high that formed on March 6th to the low, that 61.8% nicely lined up together. That's really what it is. Okay. So it comes back to forming your view on the trend. Of course, do you want to go short? Do you want to go long? I mean, just based on that trend right now, it's short. Seems like it's short. If you're trading at London Open, so again, that's another whole science that kind of each and thousands of drugs. So if you're trading at the beginning of a session, mid of a session, what you also refer to as fundamental windows, so there's some good opportunities for that. But at a given point in time, once you form an opinion, line up your support resistance levels, line up your fibs, and you essentially have a trade. Okay. Okay, that's it from me. I'm done. I hope this helped. Let me know if this helps. If you'd like me to do this next week also on some of the other pairs. And really this is what you have to do to write up your trade plan, guys. Okay? That's basically what you have to do to write up your trade plans. So if you do this kind of stuff and then you say, okay, on the daily I see this, on the weekly I see that, on the monthly here's the support resistance, here's the fib. And I will not go through all your numbers, of course, but the whole idea is for you to do it. The whole idea is for you to, how do I trade? How do you trade all these lines? But it helps you pick up a level, right, Bookie? It helps you pick up a level. That's what it is. So the last thing I would do is save this as a snapshot. And I would call this USD ZAR, right? save. Now it's saved in my snapshot. So if I lose the chart, here it is. It's blank. I would go back into my snapshots and I would open a snapshot and I would do USDZAR and right there it is. But to answer your question, how do I trade? Well, depending. So if I see an opportunity, let's say on Euro USD, right? Right, there's a blank chart. So what the beauty is I don't do this. Let me show you. Can you see my screen? I'm picking up some. Let me refresh it. So I just went in and I opened a market chart. I opened a chart, right? Now, my question is, so Bookie asked a good question. So Bookie is asking, but how do you trade with all these lines? And I will flip the question. I would flip the question and say, how can I trade based off this chart? If I see an opportunity on Euro USD or Aussie or something I haven't traded before, or don't trade as frequent, let's say Euro Pound, how am I supposed to trade off this chart? Can you see this chart? It's blank. This is the point I want to make, so I'm glad you asked the question. Can you see my chart, guys? Yes? No? This is a blank chart. So the question I would ask, make it exactly. How can I trade off this chart? That's the question to ask. I don't have any support resistance line. So if I see the pair move significantly in the session or the Asian session or wherever, I'm fumbling. I'm wasting my time. I'll probably take the wrong trade because I'm trying to figure out stuff in a hurry to take a trade. That being said, the beauty of lines is I go into snapshot, I go open snapshot, I've got a bunch of it lined up. I should look into where's my Euro Pound? I pick up my Euro Pound. You can eyeball, yes, you can eyeball, but eyeball is not good enough for me. I pick up my Euro Pound, and right there. Now, do you see let me refresh. This is my Euro Pound, right? Now, it may not have refreshed since some time, since I probably forgot to save some of the lines that I did last time. So to make sure, okay. So that's the only effort I will do. First thing I'll do is go on a month probably and figure out if my broader lines are correct, right there, right? My lines are correct. Nothing's changed really. The only thing that's changed, it's still within that range. The only thing that's changed is when I go down to the day, you notice that last time I was looking at was this level. It has broken above that level. So this fib is no longer valid. I'll just take this fib off. That's all. Right? I'll take this fib off and maybe I'll draw a fib down there and figure out what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And look at so to your point, how do I use these lines? I use these lines to trade. Right? I use these lines because I don't have to do the homework all over again. Right? And I possibly cannot create something like this within 10-15 minutes, which is the time I should be spending. If I see a trade, it's the time I should be spending to figure out what's happening in the market in terms of news, or am I missing something? Did somebody make a statement? What were the announcements overnight, which I should know before I go to bed, of course. Stuff like that. What happened from there? Did Obama say something? Did Bernanke say something? What happened to Greece? China's trade deficit? Did that affect Aussie? Also rate sentiment on the pound, payroll data, so stuff like that, right? And again, it's kind of continuously flowing in your mind and you should be on top of it. So this goes back, and I keep forgetting where I made the statement, whether it was FX Street webinars or 1000 Pip Club webinars, but this is not something that you do once a week. This is not something you do once a month. This is not something, trading Forex is not something you do. This is not something you do when you feel like doing it. It's something you do every day, right? So you're in touch, you're in loop with what's going on the charts, on the news, whatnot. It's just refreshing your memory by checking out the sites. What happened in the last 3-4 hours when you were either sleeping or you were away from your desk or whatever it is. Okay. I don't know what the question means, okay. Anyways, I'm out of time, so I hope that helped. And we'll see you next week. All right? Bye now.